the U.S. women's national team begins its campaign in France as a team in transition, one looking to prove itself. Every time the U.S. women's national team launched one attack after another last week in Washington, D.C., the final pass came wide of the target or the decisive shot came a few centimeters off target. The U.S. women's national team's scoreless draw against Costa Rica in their final game before heading to France for the 2024 Summer Games was particularly frustrating as the U.S. capital was hot that night with the temperature reaching 97 degrees at kickoff. But it was also a stylish embodiment of the task that awaits head coach Emma Hayes and her team during the Paris Games. The team's reliable golden generation stars are largely gone. This will be a tournament where new teams will have to get creative, otherwise the disappointing Grand Slam run will continue for many more disappointing years. We want to make this a comfortable environment, but you also have to know what the standard is. You're here for a reason, said Lindsay Horan, a midfielder who serves as team captain. Any new player coming in, it means you're one of the best in the country and you have every right to be here. So, nerves and all those things are normal. It means that it means something and that you're playing in one of the best teams in the world. And we want to get back to being the best in the world. So, we need those players. And like I said before, we have a lot of new players and new players that are key positions on this roster, so we're going to need them to be great, confident, and, everyone who's come in so far, new players, and young players too, they have great confidence. For young stars like Sophia Smith and Trinity Rodman, who are making their Olympic debut, and 4 other players making their first major tournament with the U.S. national team, this is the first big test in their long careers with the U.S. national team. Other veteran players such as Rose Lavelle and Alyssa Nair will also be looking to make up for disappointing performances in Tokyo, Australia and New Zealand, where the United States suffered its oldest defeat ever at a World Cup. The United States women's national team defeated Zambia 3-0 in their first match on Thursday in Nice, France. When she made the roster, Hayes acknowledged the surprising decision not to bring Alex Morgan to France, and chose players who she felt adapted to her style and could play in the difficult transitions that Olympic competition requires. This was perhaps Hayes' first difficult decision as women's team manager after taking over in late 2023 after more than a successful decade with London club Chelsea. She told reporters after the Costa Rica game that at that point she had only had half a dozen training sessions with her team, which didn't leave her much time to build the kind of relationships on which wins in major competitions are built. However, she still found it easier than she expected to get her team together. I've had half a dozen training sessions and only 4 matches. No problem, I'll try to make the most of it, she said. In our training sessions for the Olympics, we will add another layer of preparation for the opening match in Zambia, when we will have to be patient. There are a lot of young, inexperienced players who are still learning at this level. And yes, it is a new era. Yes, we want to win. But we have to understand the steps that must be taken to achieve this. For Olympic first-timers like defender Sam Coffey, patience is key. While Coffey says she intends to enjoy her Olympic experience and live in the moment as much as possible, the 25-year-old added that she and other players taking to this stage for the first time will learn a lot. Although this learning is part of the path to success, it can be a difficult situation when so much is expected so quickly from the U.S. women's national team. This is a new group, there's a new energy, there's a new philosophy, a new culture, and I think we're learning a lot as we go. And in some ways, we need to be patient with ourselves as we do this. It's not going to be linear, she said, adding, but I think again and I hope that is evident in the way we play and the difference in style of play. As the team gathered together, Hayes and a number of players described the positive atmosphere in the locker room, with the trip to France likely to be an intense period of bonding between the veteran players and the younger players. We live in our own little bubble, so traveling to new places is hard because we don't have a lot of free time, forward Trinity Rodman said when asked what she's looking forward to at her first Olympics. So, I would just say, having family and friends there to support us through everything away from home, I think the bonding is great. This group mentality is a key component of Hayes' preparation for tough tournament competition. We do a lot of effort internally in terms of encouraging them to focus on things that are going on in our environment, Hayes said. We can't control the keyboard warriors, she nodded, referring to the pressures that come with being part of one of the most successful women's soccer teams ever. And for us, we have to recognize the privilege of playing for the United States in the Olympics. Not only, is the greatest honor for these players, but it's an honor that we don't want to waste, and we certainly don't want to waste it with remarks and comments that happen away from us that people are entitled to, but we should just focus on ourselves and take care of each other. Players like Mallory Swanson, who is competing in her second Olympics and third major tournament, will have to guide younger players through the pressures placed on the U.S. women's team. So far, the mix of younger and more experienced players has created a positive atmosphere in a locker room filled with some of the game's best players, Swanson said. We have a mix of inexperienced players and then some new players, and I think that makes us really, really good. I think. Like I said, the atmosphere was really positive and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think just getting into the tournament, that's important, Swanson said. With Morgan staying at home, it will be the first major tournament in many years for the U.S. women's national team where not a single striker is expected to be able to score goals. Smith, Rodman and Swanson formed a powerful attacking trio against Costa Rica, attacking Los Ticos flanks often to create chances. Their intricate passing in combination with Horn caused Costa Rica's defenses to confuse at times. But the chances were very few. This leaves room for a troubling question: who is the classic striker who can be relied upon to finish like Morgan, Carly Lloyd, Abby Wambach and Mia Hamm once did? It's frustrating, of course, when you create those kinds of chances and they don't go in, Swanson told reporters after the July 16th match. But yeah, I think we're getting into those positions, and I think we're taking advantage of that. And then I think you'll go back to the training ground and keep working to finish this. The last little bit, and I think it will come. It will be simple. I myself had to be more precise and go back to the training ground and do some exercises. Hayes expressed her happiness with being patient with her team as they formed their new identity, and said that the teams the team played with before their trip to France allowed them to gain great experience in playing different types of defenses. The last part in the box is that little bit of calm, whether that's finding the right player, the spear player at the right moment, or just where it's being executed, Hayes said. When I analyze the chances, should we win the game? Of course we have to win the game. But for me, I always analyze what you have to do to be able to ensure that happens, or at least we can get into situations again and again. I can't finishing the ball for players, but I can definitely coach players to put them in their situations.